Hey, welcome back. Mr. Inky Fingers here. We are going to be looking at a pretty cool pen. I've actually done an unboxing on this pen before, um, and I wanted to follow up with the review. However, I had one planned, but this was going to be probably mid-January. I was going to release it. I actually had two requests to do a review on the pen. One of them came from a viewer who was looking at um, the Habanichi planner that I did the review on that, and I used the Diplomat Nexus. I hope I said Nexus when I introduced the pen. I think I did. Anyways, so we're going to look at the Diplomat Nexus, and pretty cool pen. Got some thoughts on it after having used it um, for quite a while. And yeah, got a little ding on it too on the cap. I just noticed. Anyways, um, I mean, it's a chunk of a pen. It's really good quality. It's Diplomat. I mean, I have yet to have a Diplomat pen that wasn't pretty darn good. Um, so let's get down to the mat, take a look at it, see how it writes. I'll give you my thoughts, plus plus and minuses on it, and we may or may not do a drawing on this one coming up soon. But I wanted to get a quick review on this and give anybody an idea who's thinking about getting this, because it's not really on the inexpensive side of things. So yeah, let's get down on the mat, check it out. Okay, here we are. So look at this pen. It comes with um, its own little case, which I thought was pretty cool. It's got a pretty stiff foam inside of like an aluminum um, casing. The foam comes out, everything comes out. It came with a bottle of Diplomat Royal Blue ink um, by Octopus. I didn't know they made inks for Diplomat. I just literally noticed this after all this time. I don't know that we're going to get if it's going to focus in or not. It may or may not. However, it does say Royal Blue by Octopus, which I thought was pretty cool. Just now, noticed it. I've had this for quite a while, and I've never even noticed that. I don't know if that's something new or not. Anyway, we'll look into that. But it comes with a bottle of ink, and then it has two sections here. One has nothing inside of it, which is a wider line, and then one has a stiff plastic little insert, and I'll show you what these are for. It also does come with a pipette, like a little plastic pipette, because guess what? This is not a piston filler, vacuum filler. You're going to have to put the ink in, and we'll show you how that's done. I swear it looks like this pen went through a war zone. What in the world, man? I'm just starting to notice some things. There's like a dent in it. How the heck did this happen? And I don't even haven't taken this one out anywhere. That's strange. I don't know if anybody else has had that before. When they haven't used a pen in a while, and they pull it out, and it looks like somebody just was using it and banged it. I'm a little irritated by that now. Anyways, so let's get back to the pen. Um, okay, so let's just get a little view of it. So it's matte anodized aluminum finish. So it's blue with the chrome finish. It's a demo. You see a little bit of water beading in there. I just flushed it out. So normally that's extremely clear. It's nice when you have ink sloshing around in there. That's pretty cool. Start at the top of the pen. You have the Diplomat logo on there, top of the finial. And you can see it there. And then at the bottom, you have it says Diplomat, has the logo, and then Germany, and mine is number 428. I don't think it's not limited or anything like that. I think they just number all their pens. So I have 428 that came out. This has a real unique filling system. Okay, so the filling system, if you see, there's a rod inside the barrel, and there's a spring contraption at the very top here. This does not come undone. So this spring, all this stuff is basically locked in place. Okay, and I'm going to show you in a second. It's a screw cap, and here's how many times it takes to come off. You got let's see, half a turn. Wow, so almost a full turn, actually a little bit less than a full turn, and it comes off, which is kind of nice. Um, let's see here, we got a little bit of leakage, so since I cleaned it. Okay, so inside here you have a medium nib, and this is a Diplomat nib. It has the Diplomat decoration on the nib, their logo. And it says Diplomat, I'm going to say Germany, but anyway, it's medium. Pretty standard feed. I mean, there's nothing super special about that. It does have a section here that is, it's a fingerprint magnet, holy mackerel. So the section has, it feels like, so it's not steps at all. It's um, like rings, like they've been cut out inside or cut out into the section. So there's ridges. So when you're holding it, you do have the ridges that keep it from being slippery, your finger falling off of it. So that was my concern when I looked at this. I'm like, man, that's a steel, slippery, looking section. Turns out it's not. So anybody who's concerned about that, I have not had my finger slip off, and I'm extremely, extremely irritated by that. So for me, to have it not be a problem, I think most people, you should be fine. So section is pretty good, and it's long, it's huge. So you can hold it close to the nib, or you can hold it, further back. These threads are the steps here because it's stepped down little by little all the way to the section. So it's very gradual. How do you fill this? Pretty cool. So well, first of all, there's a rod here, okay? And the rod, it's kind of like a vacuum filler. So it has it's like plunger, it comes all the way down, and there's a rubber piece at the very end. And where the section, so the ink's going to go through this little hole in the section, feed down to the feed. That plunger sits just above that hole. So it's allowing, when it's open and uncapped like this, the springs push back. So allowing ink to flow through. Now, to close this plunger, to seal that section, to keep ink from going further, you put the cap on. And here, if you see this spring here, I turn the cap and it pushes that rod down, and it seals literally just by turning the cap. It will seal. I don't know if you see the spring here. It'll move. Do you see that? It'll compress because I'm pushing this up. It actually moves. Okay, so when I turn it and I lock it onto the section, it pushes the section up onto that, seal or that rod, and it pushes it on there. And all in essence that does is it seals in the ink into the body. It's kind of like a vacuum filler, or a well, yeah, a vacuum filler. What that does is, so if you go on an airplane, high elevation, and there's a change in pressure, you're not going to have the ink blow out of the, fountain pen. So it seals it in there safely. So the only ink is just what's in the section. Okay. So that's nice. Nobody's done that yet. They kind of came out with this design. So I think that in general is going to be a really cool idea. I'm going to go through my pros and cons with this. I think the idea is phenomenal. I'm going to leave that there until I can go through the rest of the pen. So anyways, so you take the cap off, got a great nib. I don't know if this is yes it is. This is a nib unit that screws out. I didn't try that yet. So the nib does come out in a nib unit, which is replaceable then. So I've got a medium, so if you ever wanted to get a broad or fine, extra fine, you can order one and then quickly replace it. Okay, so that's pretty cool. All right, now to fill it though, you want to leave the nib in there. Just hold that and then there. So if I want to fill this pen, here's how we do it. You break out this thing. You don't have to have it, but it's cool to have it. You break out this thing. You put in your pen in the larger section, stand it up. Then you want to unscrew the actual section part, or do it beforehand. You want to unscrew the section from the body. So it comes off easily, so I'm unscrewing. And there's an O-ring right there. You see that orange O-ring. Boom. Now I've separated the section from the body. You can see the rod there, by the way. So you need, when I put in the ink, I have to go around the rod. Now, take your section, you can put it in that little hole there. Okay. And then you take the body and you put the body right there. All right. So you see how this is? Great. We could use this ink. I'm actually going to use Waterman. I don't even know if this fits. Kind of fits. I'm going to use Waterman for this. I really don't need to do that. I can use a pipette. I do actually have a blunt nose syringe, so I'm going to use that. Okay. So I'm going to open our Waterman Intense Black ink. I'm trying to use up a lot of my Waterman inks. Okay, so I'm going to draw up some of the ink here. I don't really want to fill the entire pen, but let's do a little bit. Okay, so then I want to take the ink and I want to slide it just to the side of that knob. And then I want to drop the ink in. This holds a ton of ink, by the way. So if you don't want a ton of ink, no, rinse it out. Don't fill it all the way up. So now I've got ink in there. Okay. And then when you want to seal it up, you're ready to go. If you want to fill it, keep filling it. If not, get the section, screw it back onto the body. Boom. I'm on, and we have ink now sort of sloshing around in there. Okay. So we are ready to go. I know I have ink in that cap still. That's why it's beating on the pen. All right. So done and done, right? So that's it. So that's what that little container is for that it comes with. So don't throw that away when you get it. It is pretty useful. Okay, so now we're ready to go. I'm going to avoid putting that cap on because I know I have some ink in there that did not get washed out, and that's bothering me now. Okay, let's get our notebook out, and we are going to do a little bit of writing with this. But I am going to go over the pros and cons. I'll have to go over the pros and cons after. Okay. Oh, other thing, does not post. Okay, doesn't post. So, however, holding the pen, I've got big hands, by the way. It's pretty. Look at that. I mean, it's super substantial. It's perfectly fine unposted. I have no problem in this case. Okay. So once you fill it with ink, if it's your first time, because typically when you're filling this pen, you're putting the nib into the ink and you're, drawing it up. So the nib's now soaked in ink so that when you pull it out, even when you wipe it off, it's ready to write. In this case, you've inserted it directly into the body, screwed the section back on. There is no ink in here. So it won't always write right away. So you tip it upside down and let capillary action take place and let it get all the way down there and then write. Good news is it did not take long. That was cool. It actually did not take long to get down to the sections and to the nib so that I was able to write. That was pretty cool. I give that. So let's go ahead and start writing with the Diplomat. By the way, since I just washed this pen out, it's going to look a little watery at first. Diplomat Nexus Demo. This is the one I got, is the demo. Fountain pen. Let me put this a little bit closer here to the page so we can see that. Okay. There we go. Okay. And okay. And this we are actually using Waterman Intense Black It's already saturated now because you can see it's pretty darn black now. Waterman Intense Black ink. Retail. Well, I'm not going to get into retail because things change constantly, but if you go online, you can see. Waterman Intense Black ink. Diplomat nibs are generally smooth out of the gate, and this was no exception. Okay. I had no issues with that. This pen is also very wet. Not as wet as my Visconti Homo sapiens. I can tell you, not as wet as a Mont Blanc 146 or 149. Definitely not as wet as a Pelican 1000 M1000, but wet. So I probably stepped down from those, but still wet. So when I the ghosting comes through, it like almost bleeds through on this paper, almost like I'm seeing it start, and that's just from not even from drawing, but just from writing certain numbers. So in that instance, it's wet. Um, it doesn't smear all over the place. However, when I put this on Tomoe River paper, which this is not, it will definitely smear because it really sits on top of the paper, which is normal. Smooth. It lays a consistent line of ink. No issues. Smooth. I'm barely giving any pressure on that paper. I'm going to give you my honest feedback on this because I have been using this pen for a while now, consistently. So here are my likes and dislikes. So I'll say my likes. My likes for this pen. I like the unique filling system. Okay, that's pretty cool. I like the Diplomat nib. Fun to write with. I enjoy that it's substantial. It feels nice and hefty, but not too hefty. And I like the girth of the pen. So let's say girth size is great. Okay, so these are all pluses for me that I enjoy about the pen. Let's go over the dislikes. And these aren't passionate dislikes, more, how about this, irritations. I like that. Irritations with the pen. My irritations are it's not postable. Again, not a deal breaker by any stretch for me, but not postable. Here's my other dislike. So when I'm holding the pen, it feels like it's not balanced perfectly. Like whoever designed this, all of their effort went into this filling system, all of the thought. The filling system was primary. And it seems like everything else just kind of came in secondarily. The section was just, well, let's make it for function and not necessarily comfort or, balance. So that's number one. Number two, it just, again, the feel of it, the way it's designed, it's heavy at the back, and I guess we had these springs back here, so I don't know that it couldn't be. I think maybe this is just the way it had to be. But could there have been a little bit, more thought put into this? I would think so, but who knows? But I'm just telling you what exists right now, and to me, it just doesn't feel 100% balanced correctly. So it's not like some pens will disappear in your hand. You're using it, It's perfect. It's there. It's doing what a pen needs to do, right? This pen, I kind of always feel it. So when I'm drawing, it's not a big deal. But, after a while, you're like, man, it feels like the pen's going to sort of tip backwards out of your hand, even though it's not. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but it's there. It does bug me a little bit. Um, so let's say the form slash balance. Okay, so these are my two. Oh, and also, um, I think the liner. So they could have put a better liner in the cap to really secure, because again, when you close it, it's sealing off all the ink into the body and whatever's in here. Well, if it's leaving the ink in here, if they had a really good liner, it would keep that ink in there, right? So that when I then take the cap off, it should start right away. It does that for the most part. But if I let it sit for like, 4 or 5 days and I go back into it, I gotta, there's a tiny little hard start and I gotta go. Um, just an irritation. Again, not even a huge dislike. So that would be, that's it. So these are my thoughts on the pen. I mean, really, that's it. Uh, is it worth the price? That's such a subjective thing to say. I don't know. I don't know. I guess how I would ask it is this: do I regret buying it? No. So for me, I guess, yeah, um, it's fine. That's my opinion. It's fine. It is what it is. Ultimately, I like the pen. It's not perfect. I have perfect pens. For me, perfect. And they're few and far between. So it's not like not being perfect is terrible. You know, it's good. I like writing with it. It's unique. It's fun. It's fun when I ink it up and I write with it. So it is an enjoyable pen. It's hefty though. So if you don't like to have heavy pens, probably not the pen for you. Or get your hands on one and feel it and see if it makes sense. Also, I forgot to go over the cap. The cap does have their eyedrop or teardrop cut out at the top, and it is a pretty flexible clip. I don't use clips, but other than for like a roll stop or something. But anyways, very uniform pen, cylindrical. It doesn't taper at all, which is why it's not postable too. So that's it. Those are my thoughts on the Diplomat Nexus. Overall thoughts, I like it. Yep, it's not perfect. I like it. It writes well. It has a Diplomat nib. I've yet to be disappointed by a Diplomat nib. They're reliable, for the most part, smooth. Quality control seems pretty good. So those are my thoughts on that. I do have a drawing coming up with this one to show you how the nib works. My medium nib that I have, of course, different sizes will show differently, but oh, forgot to show you this one as well. It does reverse write really well. Out of the box, it did pretty well, and I'll just show you. So if I just draw normally, and then I draw the line on the back, you see there's a fine line on that one. And it is great. Also, it doesn't dry out. So for drawing purposes, drawing lines, it's fantastic. I really enjoy it. It's nice contrast. So I'm really getting with this nib a medium and a fine nib all in one. Okay. So that's it, Diplomat Nexus. If you've enjoyed this video, got something out of it, please do punch that like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you can get more content coming out weekly, and hit the notification bell too. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. And we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.